Hi everyone, I thought I would do a little comparison video today for you. I've been asked by a few people which I preferred between the 50 metallic Brutfuner pencils and the 48 metallic Castle Arts pencils. I thought it would be just much better rather than me saying I prefer this, because obviously everyone is different in what they like and dislike. I would do a little bit of a comparison video. I've got a few bits to work through with you. I've actually got a little list of things to talk about. I thought we would start by looking at the packaging of the pencils. So we'll start with the castles. Now these castles come in a tin. There is an option to buy them in a pencil case, you know, the type with the elastics that you slip the pencils into. Personally, I prefer tins, which is why I've got the tin, and so I'll show you the tin. I don't have the other one, so I can't show you. So you get the tin. Inside the lid it tells you the colours. You get a nice little wax paper to protect the pencils. You get a swatch sheet, and you get 2 layers of pencils. I'm not going to show you more than that because we're just talking about merely about packaging. Oh, I'll show you how this works. You have a little string here, elasticy string, which you pull up to remove the layer. Now this is quite awkward. I have to say I'm not a big fan of these. I think the Arteza ones are much better, where you can just grip and pull, but there they are, the 2 sets of pencils. Now again, quite awkward to get back into the tin, but that is the nature of these, I find. So that is how they come. Now the Brutfuner, it's just important for me to point out that there are 2 sets of Brutfuner pencils. There's a 12 and a 50. They are completely different. The 12 set have black wood and the colours are really different. They're not, 1 or 2 of them are the same as these, but most of them are different. So we're not going to be talking about these. I do have a review of these on the channel, but I don't think it's they should be compared, because firstly there's only 12. So here is our 50 metallic. They come in a cardboard box. It has this flap which is tucked in, which I can't untuck, so I always leave it sticking out to make it easier. And then the pencils come. Let's slide them out. It's going to make a horrible noise. Ooh. In these plastic packs. Now these are quite good, look. They click in so they don't fall out, which is quite good for transport wise. If you hold them like this too much and they bend, they pop out, a bit like ice cubes, but you can then pull them out. They're quite solidly in, so it's quite difficult to remove them without actually lifting and slightly manipulating the plastic from underneath. But I quite like that setup. It means you can just put them one above the other, as if you would if they were the different bits in the tin. So that's how they come. So that's our first step. I thought I would compare how the pencils look. I'll just take one out of each. Whoops. Oop, it's going to roll away. So I'm just getting the lightest gold one of each. So they're similar thickness, and the leads are a similar thickness. Neither of these are sharpened, so it's not very useful. But the Castle Arts are black and they just have the dipped end, whereas these Brutfuner have the colour throughout the whole pencil. And I have to say, although it looks a bit more sophisticated and classy if the whole pencil isn't the colour, perhaps, I think that's why Caran d'Ache Luminance do it, and why Derwent do it. I actually find it far easier to know what the colour is if I just grab the pencil. Do you know what I mean? Rather than having to look at the tip, you can just see it much more easily. What's written on it? Let's have a look. So we have the brand name on this one, Brutfuner, with a number and the colour. And this one also has a number. It says MT, which stands for metallic, because Castle Arts have lots of ranges. This one says B02. I assume the B is for Brutfuner, but I suspect they have other sets and they might also have B numbers on, but I don't know. If we spin it round, this one has says metallic coloured pencil Brutfuner, and this one says Castle Arts metallic. I don't know how easy that is to see, but they're fairly similar. Okay, looks where that's concerned. So let's put those back. My next thing is to talk about the availability. Now, Castle Arts metallic pencils are very easily available from their website and from Amazon, and there's another place I found them as well, but I can't remember what it was now. So they are quite easy. I have not seen them out of stock. Brutfuner I find more difficult to find. They aren't on UK Amazon. I've never found them on there. They're on US Amazon. They are on AliExpress. They are on eBay, US and UK, or .com and .co.uk. So, but I have to hunt them a little bit. I put a link to them when I reviewed them, the Brutfuners, and someone messaged me when this is for the pastel set, and the seller had put the pastels and the metallics in the same listing, and the metallics had sold out. So I find them a little harder to find. None are available open stock, so you can't buy single replacement pencils for any of them. They're budget ranges. That doesn't normally happen on a budget range. Right, next thing to talk about is the price. I wrote it down here. So on, let's talk about Castle Arts first. I found them in a variety of places. On amazon.co.uk in the tin, they're £26.99 at the moment. They're on special offer. In the case, they're £42.99. On amazon.com, in the tin, they're $34.99, and in a case, they're $44.99. On Castle Arts website, they are slightly differently priced. On the UK site, the tin is £34.99, which is £5 dearer than Amazon. And it's $34.99, which is the same price as Amazon. I'm not sure about postage though, I didn't look at that. The case on Castle Arts website is £34.99, but on amazon.co.uk it's £42.99. But the case on the American Castle Arts website is $34.99, but on amazon.com it's $44.99. So there is some variation between. The case is more expensive. It makes sense that you get a nice zippy case rather than a tin, which I do think is quite cheap quality, but that I still prefer tins. It's just my thing. So the case is always going to be dearer, but sometimes Amazon is cheaper and sometimes Castle Arts website is cheaper, so you will need to have a look and compare. With the Brutfuner, as I say, it's much harder to find them, I find. Amazon.com, $23.99. I found them on AliExpress, shipped with, I don't know about the shipping actually. No, on AliExpress, $18.36, and on eBay.com, $19.83 with free shipping, but from China. In the UK, the AliExpress price was £15.58, and the Amazon.co.uk price was £19.20, and that was coming from China. So you might have to wait a lot longer. I think AliExpress takes a little while to arrive as well, because I'm pretty sure they come from China. So you might have to wait longer. But as you can see, the main difference, I would say, is that the Brutfuners come in mainly at around £20 or $20 or a bit less, although Amazon was quite expensive, .com, but it's cheap on eBay. But the Castle Arts come in more around £40, $40 mark sometimes, unless you get them on special offer. And even the lowest price I could find, which was £26.99, was dearer than the Brutfuners. So Brutfuners definitely cheaper. So that's that. But you would need to look around yourself, because you need to bear in mind shipping, which is going to change from wherever you are. And obviously not everyone's in America or the UK, but it's just easier for me to find those. I realise people in Australia can't ship from Castle Arts website, and I don't know if they can even get the castles. But there we go. I did the best I could. Now what I did next was I made a little swatch chart Now this swatch chart will be available in my Ko-fi shop to download for free. There's a blank one. I'm going to put it up after I make this video, so it'll be ready for you by the time the video goes out. So there is a blank one available for you if you want to swatch it yourself. But there's also a swatched one. Now obviously with the swatched one I scan it and the colours aren't completely accurate. Firstly my scanner bleaches it a bit, then it goes through a processing on my computer and changes it, and then your screen may change it, and then if you print it, it's going to change. So they're not going to be spot on colours, but it gives you a comparison, and I thought I would go through this anyway in some detail. But if you want to download it, you can go into the Ko-fi shop. I'll put the link in the description. It does ask you for a donation, but you can put 0 in there. You don't have to donate any money. Put in 0 and then you can download it. So I've got the Brutfuners here and the Castle Arts here. We're starting with yellow or gold. So we can see there's 3 Brutfuner yellow colours and 4 in the castles, although some of these are brownish. It's quite hard to categorise them brown or yellow, but that I felt it was sort of what I felt worked, and I tried to pair them up where I felt the colours were fairly similar, but some of them didn't really match, so I just put them all into this sort of yellow section. So those are our golds. Now one thing to note is shininess. I'm going to turn that to my lamp or window, and you can see there it is. The shine is quite similar. It's quite unimpressive, to be honest. Shiny pens paint always much shinier than pencil. With metallic pencil, if you want a shiny metal, then go for a pen. You're not going to get it with a pencil, but it's just, I like the colours and the effects you can get with them. Okay, oranges. We haven't got many oranges. The Brutfuner gives us 2 and Castle only gives us 1. Now I rather like the orange, but with only 1, I think my Castle Arts orange is going to disappear quite quickly. But anyway, now these are the reds. Now I found it a little difficult to separate the reds and the pinks, but I just categorised it as best I could. And that ketchup, for example, is almost a little orangey, but these top two reds here from the Brutfuner seem much more reddy. The rest are fairly pink, but I think also some of my matches aren't brilliant. I think maybe that burgundy rose matched better with that vineyard wine, maybe, I'm not sure. But there they are. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 reds, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So both got 7 reds, but they're just not all compatible, you know, colours. Pinks, we don't have many. I mean, those reds are quite pinkish, particularly like the topaz and things. So you might think they're near enough. We have 2 in each, basically, although that magnetic mauve in the Castle Arts is probably a good match for that bright violet, but it just seemed a little pinker than that, so I popped it up there. But you know, it's much of a muchness. It was quite tricky to do that. The purples, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the castles, and 1, 2, 3, 6 in the Brutfuners, but the amethyst purple is by far my favourite colour out of all of the colours in the whole set, and that's the Castle Arts, but that's just my personal opinion, so you may not be into purple. These are a little grey, more wishy-washy purples, which you do get when you have metallic pencils. Now we have lots of blues. There's too many to fit on this column, so this is the first half, and then next continue in the next bit of the page. So there were more blues in Brutfuner. There's 5, 6, and there's 9, and there's 3, 4, 5, 6 in Castle Arts. So still quite a lot of blues, and this one's quite dark. We didn't have a match for that one, although the Peacock Topaz is pretty dark. It's just not quite as dark. The tones seem to match better with that one. But this, which is my favourite over here, the Sapphire, is a really pretty blue in the Castle Arts, but the Bluebird in the Brutfuner is a very close match. It's not quite as vibrant and as pretty, but it's almost there. So that is the blues. We have lots of greens. I don't think I'm going to get can just fit them in shot. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 in the Brutfuners, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I should have been able to work that out, in the Castle Arts. So, and what I like about the greens is we've got a good broad range. So we've got bluey greens, we've got more mid greens, and we've got some limey, well, no, olivey greens as well. So it's got a really, they both got a really nice range of greens. And what's quite odd is from sitting at this angle with the way the sun is shining, the olive verde and the macaw green both really are catching the light and really shiny, which is interesting, more than any of the other green. And we have quite a lot of browns. Some of them are more reddish, orangey. It was quite hard to classify them, but I did my best, as I said. So this one's called Dull Gold, but I really felt that it matched this moonstone. Some of these matches are pretty close, actually. But we have these two extra browns in the Castle Arts. They're fairly similar, but they're quite bronzy and quite useful. We don't really have those dark browns in the Brutfuners. So if you wanted to make a dark brown, if you're doing a tree trunk or something, you would have to use your black together with maybe this or something to get a dark brown. And our greys, we have one extra grey in the castles, and it's quite a pale one. So you haven't really got a pale grey. I mean, the Morning Dove is quite a bluey grey. It's very similar to the Quantum, I felt. And then the Typhoon and Sycamore, these are quite brownish. So you could potentially use them as browns. Maybe add a little bit of some of these with them. And we have a sort of Belgian Block and Platinum, which are like our silvers. And then we have a black. The black's very useful for blending and, you know, darkening the colour. Now, one thing I will say about how they are going down. Now, I've had the castles for quite some time. The Brutfuners are quite new to me, so I have only used them 3 or 4 times. But something I have noticed is with the castles, sometimes when you're using them, the colour just changes to grey, as if there's some sort of metallic element in there of a silvery nature, which just makes them go grey. I've not had that happen with the Brutfuners yet. I can't say for sure it's not going to, though, because I haven't used them very much. I mean, if anyone's got them and had that happen, please say in the comments, and it will help people with making their decision. Right, so that's my swatch chart. I tried to print this on some black paper so that we could I could swatch it out on black. Oh, my camera doesn't like black, does it? I'm zooming out. There we go. And I just couldn't get it to print on this paper. It's too thin for my printer. It just rejected it. So I thought we would do a few swatches of a few colours on black, just to see how they compare between the two brands, because I haven't actually tried it myself. I'm just opening my tin of castles. So I think we'll go for a, we'll use the Vegas yellow, which is, if I can find it, which is the really bright gold yellow in the castles to start with. So I'll just do a sort of swatch like that. Okay. And then I will do one, what was my equivalent? I'm just looking at my chart, the Mimosa. Here it is. So this is our Brutfuner. We'll go the other way. So they both show up fairly well, I think, on the black paper. And I think some colours are going to show up much better than others, and I haven't swatched them all onto black. As I said, I couldn't get my chart to print. This black paper is just too thin. So but I thought it would be fun to just show you how they look. And what I thought we would also do was try a blend and see how well each of the two brands blends. I think pink to purple is usually quite a good one. Let's try, I'm just trying to get out my, I think if I go Wild Aster to, oops, Pansy, is that our darkest? Yeah. There we go. So these are the Brutfuners to start with. So I'm going to go Wild Aster to Pansy. I don't know if they're going to show up on this black because it's purple. It does a bit. So I'm just going to reduce that. And then get the Wild Aster and start that hard. Ooh, and then reduce that as we go along. Just see how well it blends together. I think it's going to be better on white paper, to be honest with you. So I'm going to do that again. I'm going to move the black away actually. My camera doesn't like all that black paper. Let's try that again on white paper. I know this is a line notebook, it's not the best. But it will just help us see how well they go together. Let's do another layer. You can see I've got quite a lot of debris coming off. I am pressing really, really hard. Much harder than perhaps I should. But I'm getting cramp in my hand because I'm pressing so hard. There we go. So that's that blend. It's quite hard to see, isn't it? Because they're so shiny. Now let's do a similar one with our castle. Let's use the amethyst and what sort of, we haven't really got a bright pink. I guess the Garnet Lake is our, just trying to find it, here we go. Okay, so Garnet Lake, it's a bit reddish, but ooh. Now these feel a bit smoother when they're going down on the paper, to be honest with you. And I'm not having to push down so hard to get so much colour out of them. But there we go. Last bit. And there you are, there you can see. I think they blend up pretty well. Something I notice people do is a smudge test, and they run their finger across to see how much they smudge. That one a little bit, but that one not at all. So the Brutfuner smudge a tiny bit, and the Castle Arts don't smudge at all. I think I've got to go and get the phone. Hold on a minute. Right, I'm back from my phone call. I'm not sure whether there is much more for me to say really. That was really the last thing I wanted to show you was the blending. They both blend pretty well, I have to say. I think for me, I think to conclude, I really need to sort of say for value for money, I would say Brutfuner, because they're cheaper. If you can, you know, if you can find them for a good price. Obviously I'm not sure about postage, but they seem to be cheaper and also very good. The only thing I would say is I haven't used them enough to know about breakage with regards to sharpening and whether they break a lot. With the castles, they tend not to. You get the occasional one that just keeps breaking, and I find that with every single brand. But with the Brutfuner, I don't know because I haven't had them long enough. But, you know, so that's something I can't really comment on. But that's all really. So basically, you can have a look at this chart in a little more detail for yourself, downloading that from my Ko-fi shop. The links, what I would do is in my description I will put a link to this. I would also put a link to where you can purchase the various pencils from. These would probably be affiliate links, so you can go and have a look and see if you are interested, compare the prices, because as I say, if there's a sale then that will help you. I actually have a discount code for Castle Arts, I think. I will check that out and might be able to use that for you because I'm actually an affiliate for Castle Art, so really I should be singing their praises. But in all honesty, if someone said I'm going to take away one of your sets of pencils, or you can only ever buy one set again, I would choose the Brutfuner. Just honestly, the only problem, as I pointed out with the colours, with the Brutfuner, is you don't have these darker browns. But that's the only thing, and I'm sure I could make them using the Sycamore, maybe the Jet Set, and these slightly lighter browns. You could sort of blend them and make them. But really with metallics, I don't tend to use them for regular pictures. I tend to use them for mandalas and things like that. But anyway, but that's me. So thank you for watching. I hope that helped you and sort of answered the questions of those people who've been asking what the main differences are between them. That's sort of everything I could think of showing you. So yes, check out the prices if you're going to buy, but do download the chart as well and have a look at the colours that are available and think about which are your favourites, which colours do you think you'll use the most. Say if you, for example, think you're going to want those browns, then obviously that's going to influence you with that set. If you feel that you're going to be using more golds, then you've got an extra one here. You know, it's not a huge difference. Or you might look at it and go, I absolutely adore X colour and it's only available with one set. So that's something to bear in mind. Oh, the last thing I'm going to do actually, which now when I do a swatch chart, I've scanned this one already so I can do this. I get my white pen and I dot over every single swatch to see whether the colour bleeds through into white, because for me that's quite important to know, because often I put little white dots on things and it really annoys me if the colour from the pencil bleeds into the white and goes a neon pink. I can already see one doing it. Can you see the Wild Aster has done it? Look, and it. Oh, I just did it on the white. Obviously, let's hope the white doesn't bleed into the. So yeah, I was going to put this information actually on the blank chart, but I may not. It's sometimes blues do it as well. So I'm just going through them all, but it's usually pinks. So let's have a quick look. And just working my way quickly through them all. Now, I don't know how well you can see, so let's just come in a little bit closer. The pencils are running all over the place. So you can see the white dots now, I hope. I'll just do it close enough so you can see the names. So the yellows are all fine, the oranges are all fine, the reds, I'm turning my head so I can see them, they look okay to me. Sorry, I can't see them all. There, that one. But the magnetic mauve is slightly pink as well, but not as bad. But that Wild Aster is really gone very neon-y. I can't push it up, I've got some pencils in my hand. There's the blues are all okay. These blues are all fine. I think everything else is fine. I should just gently move it up in shot so you can see. So yeah, everything else is fine and hasn't bled in. It's just those pinks, which isn't unexpected, to be honest, and happens with all ranges of pencils I have noticed, apart from Staedtler, Polychromos and Pablos. All the other pencils that I have, the pinks, Black Widows do, Prismas do, Castles do, so they do that. But there we go. So I am going to finish now this time. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a really lovely day and happy colouring.